Let's talk about the roof on your towable unit, whether it be a travel trailer or fifth wheel. The components and maintenance will be the same. Your roof has a rubber roof. Now, depending on what manufacturer will decide what type of roof they decided to use, which means you may have a different sealant for each type. You should always check your owner's manual or check with our service department to consult with them and make sure you're using the right type sealant. Otherwise, it will not adhere to the rubber. Now, around your unit, you're going to have different components. You'll have satellites and roof vents and plumbing vents and air conditioners. Now, all of these components take sealants around them with the exception of the air conditioner, which has a gasket on it. All this sealant needs to be checked every 60 to 90 days. So if you have a ladder on the back, it gives you easier access. Otherwise, you need to get a ladder that you can reach up on the top of the roof and check this sealant up here for any holes, cracks, drying, deterioration, peeling, anything of that nature, anywhere where you currently see sealant. Now, when you're up here and you're checking this sealant, you also want to check for cracked vents, any vents that have pulled up, and your skylights. Skylights are a big thing. They tend to dry out over time, and they will develop cracks in the corners or even down the sides where the screws have gone in and they have a lot of tension. Now, on our side where our gutter rails are, we should inspect that for the same thing, any drying, opening, or anything like that. Once again, always consult your manufacturer or owner's manual or even the service department to ensure that you are using the proper sealant on your roof. One of the most common areas on your roof that will open up is the front or rear termination strips. You want to keep a close eye on those, especially in the beginning of ownership. As the unit begins to settle and flex on the road, you will have some openings that come up, and it is considered maintenance to get those taken care of as soon as they open up. So check that unit definitely within the first couple months of ownership and after the first few trips. After each one of my trips, I like to check the roof because you never know where there's a low-lying tree that might have left some scratches down the side of your unit. You want to inspect those scratches and make sure there's actually no punctures in the rubber. If you do have one, you want to consult with your insurance company and get an estimate for repair. In the meantime, you want to cover that hole with whether it be sealant or some duct tape or something to cover it up so there's no more water entry, because most of the time insurance companies won't cover excess damage if it wasn't taken care of right away. So you want to look at that and inspect your roof regularly to ensure you don't have any issues. Make sure you take pictures before you cover up that hole. That way it can be submitted to the insurance company. Now, because of the process of how they put these roofs on, you will generally see some wrinkles and bubbles. This is a common process and it tends to happen. This is not a warrantable item. It's just cosmetic and manufacturers see it as such. You may also see debris or staples that might have risen a little bit. Generally, that is not a problem and it doesn't cause for any action. If you do see this, keep a close eye on it. Some manufacturers may recommend just putting a plumbing vent over it to protect it. As long as it doesn't have a true puncture in the rubber from those debris pieces, then there's no corrective action to take. Another part of the owner's maintenance is to wash your roof. At least once a year, you need to get up here and do a rubber roof wash along with some UV treatment to help that roof last. This will keep the rubber from drying out over time. On your slide out roof where the fascia meets the rubber right here, you'll see Eternabond tape rather than sealant. This Eternabond tape seals over the screws and the seam where that comes in. You want to check this Eternabond tape for any rolling, cuts, or anything like that on here. This is generally caused by debris on this slide out roof. So you want to check for pine needles, frisbees, anything like that that might end up on here. You want to check it before you slide this slide out in. This will also prevent damage to this wiper seal that seals your unit from any water as well. If there is any damage that does generally occur on this due to any debris, this would be considered an insurance claim. So save yourself a deductible, and before you slide these slide outs in, make sure you clean them off. Slide toppers will help prevent any debris that gets up here, so it's a great investment. But it does not rule out any maintenance that may be done, because over time this adhesive may start to peel up, in which case you just run a new strip of Eternabond tape on there and you're good to go. Now, we've covered our roof sealants and our roof maintenance. Now, there is other sealant on your unit, anywhere along the floor line, around your compartment doors, around lights, these buttons on the side, anywhere where you see a screw or a hole was put in your unit to supply a window or a compartment door, or even behind your awning you have bolts that hold that on. All of those areas require sealant or putty of some type. Now, that putty and sealant needs to be checked every 60 to 90 days, just like your roof. and you're simply going around and checking for any cracking, peeling, or deterioration of that sealant. If there is an instance where that sealant has come off, then you simply want to clean it and reapply new sealant. Now, we need to make sure that we're using the right sealant, so consult your manufacturer or even one of our service centers, and they will give you information regarding this. This is customer maintenance. After the first 90 days of ownership, the manufacturer generally does not participate in anything regarding sealant. So that means that any water damage that occurs after that time is the customer's responsibility. So this is a very important thing that we need to take care of, just like our roof.